Hello everyone, hope you're doing well and welcome back to the channel to my first ever series review. You can probably tell by our setup here that I'm reviewing the Transformers Netflix Wolf Cybertron trilogy Kingdom Show. Now obviously this is the last chapter in the Wolf Cybertron cartoon series, and it's hard to say whether it delivered or not. And before I get into all that, I do want to stress that there are all going to be spoilers in this video. So please, if you haven't watched Kingdom yet, go watch that, and then come back and watch this review. That being said, let's dive right in. The first thing I do want to talk about is the characters in this show. Now, if you've seen the last two chapters of this trilogy, then you pretty much know what to expect with the main Cybertronian cast. Optimus Prime is the leader who doesn't really know exactly how to do the right thing and is trying to do what he thinks is best in that moment. Bumblebee basically is the typical hero character, and everyone else is kind of in the background, maybe 2 or 3 lines here or there. Now, the main difference is with our Beast Wars cast over here. Now, I'm going to say straight off the bat, if you are expecting them to be just like the original 90s counterparts, then you are not going to be getting that. There are definitely some standout differences that separate them from the 90s counterparts, which of course, I think is actually kind of a plus to this show, because it's new continuity, so I don't think that the characters should be exact as they were in the 90s, so I do kind of like that they are a tad bit different, but overall, I think characters are fine. There are some good arcs in the show, or some bad ones. Like I think Dinobot's arc of him, like just like the 90s show, being a Predacon originally, but then slowly seeing that okay, our side is not the good side. We're doing bad things for bad reasons, and eventually switching over to the Maximals and dying a sacrifice to save everyone. I think they did a good job with that. Now, one person that they did butcher very much was the Beast Wars version of Megatron. From the moment he is on screen, he is just sucking up to the G1 version of Megatron. He's saying, "Oh Lord Megatron, I'm at your service," and that's really not like our original Beast Wars Megatron. And I know I just said that it's kind of good that they're different from the original Beast Wars counterparts, but this is just kind of making him nothing but simple lackey. He does everything Megatron tells him to do. He does not have much of a role in the plot, and again, Megatron's lackey. So I really do think that they dropped the ball with Beast Wars Megatron. But besides that, most of the Beast characters were great. Of course, like I said, Dinobot was great. Optimus Prime was much more serious. I think I kind of like that. Same thing with Cheeto, again, very good. I didn't actually think that Ares was a very standout character, which is kind of what the show was kind of aiming for. But she was much more different than from her Beast Wars counterpart. And I do think that was a nice change of her being kind of the kind and sympathetic character for the show to kind of help you get invested in at the beginning. I do kind of like that. I think overall the characters in the show are definitely more on the stronger side than the last 2 chapters, I believe. So yes, characters I think are pretty good. Alrighty, so voice acting. Now this is going to be a very controversial, probably the most controversial part of this series. So, throughout the last 2 chapters of this trilogy, people have complained about mostly the voice acting, and mainly Optimus Prime's. And, you know what? I mean, yes, the voice acting in this show is less than ideal. While the awkward pauses between people's speeches have suddenly, but yet fairly, stopped. The voice acting is very, even though that little habit of stopping in middle sentences has stopped, to wait to your sentences, it has stopped, thankfully, mostly, although there is a few times that does occur, which kind of does bring the dialogue down a bit. And also, I think that the writing is just generally better in this series. In this chapter, there is kind of at the end where Optimus just kind of go back to his kind of how he was in Authorized and Siege, which just kind of bring you out a little bit, but that's kind of reel you back in with the plot, which we'll get into later. So I think overall, voice acting, it's fine. You know, nothing great, nothing awful, just fine. I think at the Beast characters though, they got some nice voice acting, especially with Rhinox, Ares on Dinobot. They definitely have very standout voices that, while yes were new, did kind of sound like and pay respect to the original 90s voice actors and voices. I do like that. Okay, so the plotline of the show. It's definitely, I think, the best one we got in the trilogy so far. Definitely the most coherent, and it moves easily from one part to another. And most importantly, it's not feel like we're on a million little side quests to get to our end goal. Now, I will say that people like Rhinox and Cheeto do have kind of limited roles in the plot where they aren't doing too much on screen, more off screen kind of things, And while that's not a huge issue, most people are coming back for these Beast Wars characters to see them on screens again. And so having these mainstays like Rhinox and Cheeto having very small roles in the plot does kind of lower the show down to a little bit of a lower standard, because the characters that we came here, the people that we came here to see aren't doing too much. But that's not really a huge impact for me. I think that people like Eraser and Primal do have a big enough role to where it makes up for that, but I'm still a bit upset about that. Now, in terms of the Predacons, the role in the plot is a bit less substantial. There is, of course, one that stands out, though, that being Dinobot. He has the biggest role by far with the Predacons, him sacrificing himself to get the Matrix back for Optimus. But that's really the only big Predacon role in the plot. The Beast Wars version of Megatron's mostly just a lackey for the Siege version of Megatron. Black Arachnia maybe gets maybe 20 minutes on screen in total, and she's just kind of working to overthrow the Megatrons with Starscream, so she doesn't really get to do that much. And I mean, those are really the only 3 Predacons we see. We see a few Scorponok clones, but we don't see any Tarantulas, Wasp, Tornado, Pterosaur, Inferno, none of them, which is definitely a bit of a letdown, because we had most of our Maximals, so I wish we got to see more Predacons. But overall, I think the plotline of the show, while definitely could have been improved on, is good enough to where it passes as a better than average plotline. Okay, so what's next for the War for Cybertron trilogy? Now, you probably think nothing. There was 3 parts. Getting what's the last part? It's over. Hooray. But in the last few minutes of the show, we got a scene where Unicron was reformatting Galvatron and Nemesis Prime into something new. We have no idea what that is. And right next to that scene, there was Black Arachnia saying that next time we see Unicron, he'll be ready to fight. Hopefully by then he'll be ready. So I think what they're going to do here is similar to what the Troll Hunters Tales of Arcadia series did, where they had 3 series built up to 1 movie. So I think we're doing something very similar to that, to where we have 3 chapters and then have 1 movie at the end to finish it all off. Now, of course, there have been no official announcements for that, and I get to be totally wrong, but if that is the case, I'm not too excited for it, because I think that Kingdom could have been a fine enough ending for it. But if we do get a movie, hey, why not? Okay, so in conclusion, was Kingdom a great show? No, it was not a great show. Was it a good and passable show? Yes, I think it had all the elements to be a good and fine Transformer series, and having the Beast killed on screen definitely did help that. But I wouldn't put it higher than anything like Red RD. It's nice on first viewing, but I wouldn't recommend going back to it after that. The characters are fun, plotline's actually pretty good, voice acting is mediocre at worst, but I don't know, man. I just had fun with this. I don't know why, but I just had somewhat fun with this. So I think overall, out of a rating score of 10, I would give it a 6. Above average, but nothing special. So yeah, guys, that's just my opinion on the series, and I would love to hear yours. What do you think of the show? I was chatting on this call last night with a few friends, and I saw some mixed expectations for it. So yeah, what do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section below. That being said, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys. Have a good day.